Hi, I'm Construction Gamer and this is the Northern Powerhouse on Transport Fever 2. This is going to be episode number 12 in the series, and in this episode we're going to be building the line between Middlesbrough and Darlington. I've called it the Stockton to Darlington Railway because it's sort of the alignment we're going to be using. I've just got a few interesting facts about that particular railway, but I'm hoping in this episode to get as far actually as Whitby from Darlington and then Middlesbrough and then on to Whitby. We'll just see how much we can get done in this episode. We are starting in Warrington because a lot has changed in this area. Good timing actually, this oil train has come in. I've changed this for a standard class 7, so it's a pretty powerful locomotive, and as you can see it's coming into this little siding here. Hopefully it's not going to drop anything off. No, it hasn't this time, good. And then it's reversing and pulling into the chemical plant here, which produces the petrol, or the fuel rather. And I've just done it this way to make it a little bit more realistic. I said a few episodes back, I just wondered how freight trains get onto this line here, which passes underneath of Warrington Bank Quay. And as far as I can tell, there is actually around this area a lot of freight stabling. I think it was ex-EWS, and obviously now it's in DB Schenker's hands, I think. And what happens is it comes from the Runcorn direction, and then they can come down here and turn and then go back. This line actually, looking at it on Google Maps, there is a line that comes along here, and I might actually extend that off up to this track here at some stage. Is it that one? No, it's not that one. It is this one where it goes off towards Runcorn, because around, oh god, where would it be? About here somewhere in real life you'd have Fiddler's Ferry power station, and this kind of track here is to allow the freight trains with the coal trains to come in, deliver coal. Well, they did until I think Fiddler's Ferry is about to close or is already starting to wind down, and it's just burning through its last stocks of coal before it shuts permanently. And I don't know why we've got two of them. We're going to open the UI back up, get rid of that depot. We don't need two of those. So technically there isn't, I don't think, any more rail workings to the chemical plant, but it's a little bit more realistic. I'm a bit happier with it. What I just had to do was put this station in there as a calling point, and then what I did is I just set the point to drop off or pick up nothing. So because it was actually coming here and dropping stuff off, and no idea why, no idea where the stuff was going, but it was dropping stuff off here, which is not what we want. We want it to be going to the chemical plant. And like I said, I've just upgraded this to a standard class 7 because we're in 1954 now, and we've unlocked those. So if we just actually slow down the game, take a look at that. It's a rather fine looking steam locomotive. Even I know that I'm not a big steam fan, but yeah, I've put it in the black colours because I believe black was used for freight services. If it wasn't, it just fits with my oil train kind of theme I'm going for. And talking of oil, this whole area here, I've gone a bit mad with the paintbrush. I'm trying to do a little bit of detailing. I'm not a big detailer at the best of times, especially not in this game, but I just turn that up a bit. I don't know why that's like that. That's smooth. Brush size. No, it doesn't want to do that. I think I mentioned a couple of episodes ago I was planning to put maybe some ships on this, and I've decided to do that. I don't know why. They're not really making a great deal of money, but I just thought it'd be interesting. So I've got this pier here, which is a bit like the Tranmere Oil Terminal pier, where the big huge oil tankers come in, absolutely massive ones coming here, discharge oil, and what happens normally is it comes into Tranmere and then actually gets piped down to Stanlow. But I've decided for this, I've got two ships working on here. They don't leave until they are full, which he's about to leave now, full of oil. And then I've got another one queuing behind, so it's not, I know it's not the most efficient system. It is just about breaking even, so I'm not really too unhappy with it. I just wanted to play around with the whole idea. So yeah, I've done a bit detailing, well I call it detailing, a bit of painting around here. Put this shipyard in, which is almost like where Camel Aird's shipbuilders are, and then obviously I've got the thing down here to collect the oil. So yeah, it's all a bit different, just playing around with a few things. This railway is staying where it is because this will be used eventually for the Liverpool to Ellesmere Port Merseyrail line, but we're not doing that today. We are heading over to the east coast because I think we've done more than enough in the west coast for now. Actually, I'm not just going to show you Liverpool Lime Street, I'm quite pleased with this as well. So I've done some bridge work because when you come out of Liverpool Lime Street you've got like a series of bridges and tunnels and things, and I'm relatively pleased with that. It's about as much as I can do. And then I've put this stabling yard as well. I think you might get some Virgin, or Virgin, keep calling it Virgin, Avanti West Coast stabling depot. So put them in a few bits of tracks, completely useless, but I'm just trying to add a little bit of extra detail to these railways to make them a bit better. Just make sure all the junctions are all nice and flat. So yeah, I've got that in. Rearranged some things. I've even got the 4-tracking in here. It's not necessary at all, but yeah, it all just adds to it. So yeah, enough of the west coast I think, and we want to head over to the east coast while it has a moment, and we want to come up all the way to Darlington. Now Darlington, we'll get rid of this train, we'll let him depart rather, and then I'm going to rebuild Darlington. Now I've said I'm not building realistic stations entirely, but I've just drawn a quick diagram of Darlington just to make it look a bit more like it looks on Google Maps. I think he's far away. So what we're going to do, we're going to refigure Darlington, configure Darlington before we start anything. We're just going to get rid of everything, I think. Now this isn't going to be 100% accurate, but it is going to be hopefully a little bit more accurate than if I just plonked in any old station. So we're going to get rid of all this. Now the only problem I can think of actually is now I'm going to try, yes I know it's a main connection, I'm going to try something a bit different for my mainline services. Usually what I did in my last kind of playthrough on Transport Fever 1 was just any stations like this which were in real life not terminuses, but obviously for the purpose of the game need to be, and I just put a diamond intersection in, diamond crossing like that. But I'm going to try something a little bit different. So from what I can tell from Google Earth, and I know it's not Google Earth, Google Maps, possibly not the best thing to go on, but it's the best I can do. There is probably a diagram out there somewhere on the internet of what it actually looks like. Oh dear. Right, let's put in some platforms. Are we going to use the British platforms, and what colour are we going to use them? We're going to be red, maybe. So that should be 240 metres long. Let's get rid of that. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see how long a 240 metre long station is just before we go any further. So it's going to need at least 2 more segments on here. Segments. So 2 more segments on there. I think track-wise, we'll go for high speed, but we won't have any catenary just yet. And then we'll have those there, like that. And is it going to let me do this? I'm not sure. Platforms, red. And then as far as I can tell, there is the bay platforms are in the middle, and then the main line ones go down the side. So we will try this first, putting all the track in, and then platforms on this side There is a bypass line round the outside, but I don't think I want to build that because thinking about a passenger building in future, so it just makes things a little bit more tricky and a bit less nice looking when you have like just a stub of maybe a platform or something. So is there anything a bit bigger? I think that's one thing that this mod doesn't have is that, oh yeah, it is 2. No, it just caps off. That's frustrating. I wonder if I can put in tracks before doing that. Again, this isn't entirely necessary, but I just thought it'd be interesting to try and make it look a bit, so I can put 2 there, and there's no way to get to that building, so I think that wants to be a dummy. I think it already is. I'll just delete it anyway. There's a passenger building dummy, and then we want a large building on the side, which is not going to let us do, so maybe not then. No, that's not active. Yeah, get rid of all this. And you might be able to notice as well, I've got the UK Roads mod turned on. That's a new mod that came out this week, I think, or maybe last week. I've got that turned on. It just creates things like the double yellow lines, and textures are a bit more UK looking, which is good. Buildings, passenger buildings, and we'll go with a large one. A couple of them on the side like that. And then we want, actually, chuck that there, get rid of these. We're doing it again, well I'm doing it again, spending more time on the station than probably needed. Yeah, let's go for a nice big building on the side. Just thinking, I know it's not symmetrical, but the passenger underpasses are going to be here, so MISC, underpass, and then we'll just put in those which are a different colour, which is frustrating, so we'll have to come back in later and replace those. Now, it does have a roof for its, actually no, we won't do, we can only do a single barrel anyway. We'll do that, 2 there, and I think we'll get rid of that one. So what the thing I was thinking, the plan is tracks. No, I'm not configuring the station anymore. Is tracks, standard, no catenary. If there's going to be, don't think there's going to be enough space for what I was thinking. That's annoying. We'll try it anyway. I think we need, yeah, so that's definitely 240 meters long to there, and then configure. I am making this a lot more complicated than it actually needs to be fair, I think, but I just wanted to try something anyway. So we'll go with the tracks, bring those out there, colliding with that because we need those little stubs of tracks, which is annoying. And now it won't let me because that building's in the way. I wonder, right, try it this way because we don't need to about there, you to about there. Configure passenger buildings, small passenger building, no, one last try. Passenger buildings, small, no, we need tracks first. Track. Okie dokie, I think we're getting there. This editing malarkey that I've been trying for the last well, the last episode and this one where I'm editing out any silences. Hopefully the thing should flow a little bit better for you, the viewer, and it just means that if I do get any tricky things that I'm struggling with, that we can edit those out when I start to go a bit quiet. This isn't exactly working the way I want it to, and I don't think that's 240 metres long, but we can use my good old measuring stick, and it's not. Now you probably see what I'm trying to do. What I wanted to do is, so the London North Eastern Railway service is going to come along here on the platform that it's supposed to be on, and then pull off and then come back round to go onto this platform. I know it's not technically needed, I could just put a diamond crossover in, but I just thought it'd be a bit more realistic and a bit more interesting if I did it that way, and I'm going to give it a go here. But I just need a bit of a loop, and I think what I'll do is I'll just hide that with trees. Trees are always the answer, I believe. And then we just need some signalling in here. Don't technically need it, I don't think, but I want to put it in anyway, just to be on the safe side. Now the UK roads I'm a bit confused by. Bridge prison collision. Now they don't, when I place them down like so, they don't seem to take the texture that the UK road is at. I don't know if that changes later on, but that's just something I've noticed with that, so just dump that in there. What are you? You're a boss of some description, and that has taken a massive amount of time. Right, let's try and get the next bit in a bit quicker, get all rid of that. Hopefully a bit more straightforward. Now, as far as I could see on good old Google Maps, again, Darlington, the Middlesbrough line comes in from the south, and then we've got the two. We can't do anything in the station, that's really annoying. I think we can get away with a really slow diamond crossing, which is let me build, which is good. We just want two little stubs of tractor there, and then we can bring them in like so. And actually the system that I'm thinking of implementing does remove some conflict, so there is a technical term for when a train comes off to come back round again, but I can't exactly think what it is. So we have that, we want that on the flat. It's like pushing off to come around or something like that. Usually when it's about to couple to another train. I know at least it does in Chester. Is that going to behave? It is. And then get that in there. So those two have come together. I don't know. I think what we'll do, we will have the Middlesbrough junction quite close. It just gets any conflict movements out of the way whilst things are travelling relatively slowly. And I think if I'd tried to push the junction off another 240 metres in order to remove the conflict and have the junctions all working correctly, it just would have been a bit further away from what we needed. So that's going in there, that's going in there. What are we doing here? Nothing. I think I'm just going to... We do have quite a large conflict zone here. I think we can do a junction here, can't we? Now what we need to do is look for the service, which is the... What's a bus? That'll be gone soon. Manage the line. Oh yeah, I always forget about the line manager. And I prefer to use the station configuration thing anyway. No, we've got to manage the line, so it's coming into Darlington, Thirsk, Darlington, Thirsk, and then it's coming back. We just need to add a station, like so, and it's not happy. And then configure the first one to be on platform 4, that to be on, and then it should be fine. It's not, is it? Because it doesn't know to turn around. I'm going to have to do the same thing I did. This is turning out to be probably more problematic than it needed to be. Turn that around. Now if I do that, is it going to hate me? Right, we'll try this, we'll give it a go and see what it does. but it is turning out to be somewhat of annoyance rather than anything else. So at Darlington, what's that? Darlington sidings. Yeah, I think we can keep it that, and we'll just turn on load, unload, off, like so, and just line manage back on. I do kind of like it like that. It's a bit overcomplicated, but I think I will live with it. Right, so we left a girder there as well while I've been trying to concentrate on things. Get rid of that. Right, now we can make some progress towards Middlesbrough. Now, Middlesbrough, how much money? We've got 160 million. We can afford to do a little bit of demolition. Possibly, it's not entirely necessary, but yeah, we'll do it anyway. Get rid of that. No, it's a bit excessive. Now, Middlesbrough, I'm not sure if it does have a mainline London North Eastern Railway service, so I'm going to make it 2 tracks, and it's just going to be 160 metres long, and we're going to put it there, and then we're going to demolish it. And then we're going to change the colour. What colour did I decide? Red. No, it should be blue. And yeah, so what I was saying, the whole point of this was supposed to be the Stockton and Darlington Railway, and we got a bit, well, I got a bit sidetracked trying to make things more complicated. Basically, Stockton would be around here. The track opened initially in 1825, and it was, the initial purpose for it was to transport coal from mining around Darlington to the docks, which would have been in the Stockton area. It was later extended to Middlesbrough to allow more freight to be shipped, but it does have a couple of firsts apparently, according to the internet. It was the first railway to use steam locomotives, first in the world, and it was the first to use steam locomotives to haul passenger services, regular passenger services. The Liverpool-Manchester Railway was the very first kind of purpose-built line to use just solely steam locomotives, because the Stockton and Darlington Railway did use a mixture of horse-drawn vehicles, even with passengers, I believe. But it was the first to transport passengers by rail. So that's that. We need to connect that road back up somewhere. Is that going to be a bit? It's going to be quite steep, but I think it's livable. We just go with any old, not any old bridge, just whatever it generates. Doesn't really matter. And then tie that in back to. It needs to come down now. Back to that. Probably could do with being country road. Like so, and so could that. Did I just? No, it didn't. Like so. So we've got a bit of track in. We're still quite away from Whitby, which I promised we'd get in this episode. Maybe with some editing, we can get this in. So as far as I can find out, I'm not sure. There is a service that goes Whitby to Middlesbrough and then reverses there and then heads back out again. There might be another service which heads out onto the East Coast main line. If there is, then let me know and I will correct it with something else. Otherwise, I will do a bit more research on what actual services. We're still in the early stages of the game, so we don't need to worry too much. Right, and what I'm actually going to do is, just before I forget, services, you are all getting sold, so you'll just disappear into thin air. And line manager, just the ones we can see, and then bus Darlington to Middlesbrough. So what do I want to put? Another diamond crossing in, or should I just run from? I'm just going to run from Whitby, to down to Darlington. Oh, this looks fun, doesn't it? Ooh, good. Right. Bit of demolition, not a massive amount. Station, buildings It is a terminus. We've decided we are going for blue. It's not going to be a main line, but I think we'll have 2 platforms. Spin that around like so. Get some tendrils. I do like that phrase that Colonel Failey uses for those little blue connecting lines. So I'm going to steal it from him. Right, and then that wants to be nice and level, so we've got a good first chance of doing a diamond crossing without too much bother. Great, no problems. Now, Transport Fever 2, I think I've said it before, but it does seem to be a little bit more forgiving when it comes to junctions and things like that. You still have to be a bit careful, but it does seem to be a bit more forgiving. So as far as I can make out, should be a river or something running down here, and the track runs along the river and meanders with it, and then it heads kind of... Should we head up this valley a bit, I think? I'm not sure. There should probably be another line off towards some other direction, but I didn't take the time to look. I just wanted to see where this... It kind of makes... What are we looking at here? An northeasterly approach, but it doesn't quite go up, because I've got a printout of the project mapping map, which is all of the train operating companies within the UK, and it is a good map for reference, but it just, some of the journeys that it shows, they're just like nothing like they are represented on the map. The map is very simplistic, but it just helps to highlight which operators we have, as we have an autosave. Yeah, it helps to highlight which operators operate on kind of which routes, and it does give you a very brief kind of view of the sort of rail connections that are in place. But as regards to, because like on that map it just makes it look like there's a straight line to Whitby, like it's connected, but it's not. It's a bit more curvaceous round the houses route. Yeah, so it heads out quite a lot east. I don't know if I want any big tunnels, to be honest. I don't think we're going to have any big tunnels. So it heads out eastwards and then starts to make its... I think I'm going to allow it... I think wants to be in something like that. Yeah. And then it starts to make its kind of north... No, that's west, isn't it? Heads out west for a bit and then starts to make its northwestern approach like that. And I've just gone in completely the wrong direction, haven't I? And we're up in a mountain. It's not where we want to be. Yeah, it's probably one of the reasons why it heads out eastwards before it starts heading north up towards Middlesbrough, is because of the terrain. I know it's not... well, I don't know if this particular area is famous for its mountainous regions, but I know the scale's out, but I guess there must be some difficult terrain for the railway to... no, we're far too high. So there must be some difficult terrain for the railway to negotiate on its way up. And there's some track in that little hole there. We'll push this right back, and we might even use the contour lines. Oh, I don't like that, especially you can't see your blooming track. But we will just take a quick, so we're going to bring it down here, swoop in down there, and then I think we will clear that and then we'll head up, which might almost be sort of realistic, which would be amazing for me. So yeah, knock all this back. Now the East Coast Main Line, or the East Coast of the UK, is not somewhere I have visited, so if I do get anything spectacularly wrong, then do let me know and I will try and correct it. I'm not saying I know the Northwest region all that well, but a bit less well, whatever, when it comes to the East Coast of the UK. So yeah, we're not doing any tunnels. What speed? 79. That's a bit unnecessary. don't need to go that slow. Now, one thing that Transport Fever lets you do as well, which is good, is actually have really deep cuttings, whereas Transport Fever 1 wouldn't let you get away with something like that. And then what we can do later on is, actually we'll unpause the game because that's no need for that. And then what we can do later on is come in with the train tool and just push this back to make it look a little less gully-like, and that started to go uphill, which is not what we wanted, is it? I'm still not overly convinced about this terrain returning to normal business, because what it does mean is we've got to pay. You're paying out twice for terrain correction, where with the old system I could have used part of that cutting that we've just built. At least it's like partially paid for. It just feels to me as if we're paying for things twice. Right, so yeah, we've got to sort that out, and then hopefully we can try and start to get down, just kick it out a little bit. Don't think we are low enough yet, but just I want to try and avoid like a massive viaduct. I think 90 will do, because I think when we eventually get round into the modern era, it's mostly going to be DMUs anyway, so I think 90 is the max. 2 out there. Yeah, not actually. And then we've got a little bit of a nice run through some wooded area as well, which would be nice. And then we start making our northern approach, and we are like massively underground for no reason. Yeah, that's going to take some work, and that's going to cost plenty of money to set that right. But I mean, we've got 140 in the bank, 140 million pounds in the bank, so I'm not overly worried about money. Right, let's try that again, shall we? Going down as far as possible in a big, huge gully, which I will obviously fix, and then head down, because what I don't want is any sort of massive viaduct coming down a hill. Don't like that at all. Right, let's bring that into there. And then why are you going into a tunnel all of a sudden? Oh, I've overcooked it on the way down. Right, try this again. Okie dokie, we are getting there now. We are on the final stretch to that little bit of track there. Start to bring it in, and I think that is not too bad. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do. Well, I've got a lot of work to do, making those gullies look a little less horrific. We can afford to start coming down at speed as we come into Middlesbrough, like so. So yeah, I mean, this here is just really bad. I wish the brush size for the terrain tool was a bit bigger as well, but yeah, I've got a lot of work to do. You know what, actually, I don't think there's a tunnel here. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, it's because we did some terrain modification, but I think we will have a little tunnel, maybe just to make things look a little bit interesting. Completely, you know, just superficial, but yeah, why not? So yeah, got a bit of work to do on there, but I think that is it's quite an interesting route, I'll give it that, as it kind of meanders its way up, and obviously you've got to push that gully back, and then that heads off towards Middlesbrough. I think what I'm going to do is I am just going to combine services, so we're going to have, we've got terminating platforms. I'm going to have a Middlesbrough and Whitby back to Middlesbrough. Has that got in the right platform? No, it hasn't, but never mind. Darlington platform 2. What? Why? I don't like doing it that way. Terminals. Yeah. Platform 2. Which is that one. So why isn't it showing that on the thingy? Oh, you idiot. I've done another crow, haven't I? I am an idiot. Right, okay. Back in 10. Okie dokie, so we've got a hugely overcomplicated station, but it does look quite cool with that triple barrel kind of thing going on there. Not too unhappy with that. Yes, I did make a huge mistake with the central platforms, which you probably spotted long before I did. But yeah, we got there in the end, and what we need to do actually is we need to put some roads back in, don't we? So people can actually use this station. Right, so get that in there. That in there. Need some sort of shuttle service, I guess. Do we? What sort of coverage have we got? That's not too bad. We probably could do with a shuttle service in. But yeah, we've got colour matched underpasses now with the blue rather than the red. So that's all looking rather smart. So yeah, we took a bit of to and fro, but we finally got there. But what we actually wanted, what we can do with this is actually put it to some sort of use, so we can have a depot here as well, and then I'll just hide it with trees, if it'll let me put it in. Don't want too many, because infrastructure does cost a lot more on Transport Fever 2 than it does Transport Fever 1. Get that in there, plant some trees around that, bit of paintbrush here and there, and unpause the game, and I will put a service in between Darlington and Whitby, as we'll just watch this train come in. This junction here is a bit bigger than I wanted to, but it was the only way I could get it to work. It was by having it this big in the end. Paint, and then hopefully he's gonna push off. I know this little stub is a bit longer than it needs to be for now, but eventually we will have 240 metre long trains here, so it's probably costing us money as well, you know, whatever. But I think rather than forcing a through station to be just a terminus, it's probably a little bit better. I might do something down by Grantham as well, and Stafford. I know this has got terminating platform or bay platforms, but that's as far as I could see on Google Maps is what they were. The central platforms were the bay platforms for the turnaround services. They are a bit bunched up together. It's probably because I've been messing around with everything, but not to worry, everything is sorted. So yeah, I think we'll have a journey in this episode. We'll go from Darlington to Whitby, and it should be quite a nice picturesque looking journey. Might even do some detailing to make things look a bit nicer. So I think we're done for this episode. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave you with the journey. I'm going to say until next time, bye bye.